hit the ground running. So I think we have pretty much hammered on spiritual or religious manipulation quite a bit. If you have questions on religious manipulation, please go ahead and throw it in here. Welcome back. Sorry. Yes, I should welcome you back. You should welcome yourself back. I heard you say that.
Yes.
So if you have questions on religious manipulations, please plug it in right now. Okay? Awesome. Let's talk about social moral manipulation, because that, I think, it can be very tricky, and people can use what I call intelligence to, again, manipulate you. Explain, bro.
Okay, let me wait for questions in case somebody has a question, so that we will not
Don't
rush.
worry, they will ask. I'll put it in.
Okay.
It might take a while. Let's go ahead. Yeah.
Okay.
Jegaloni, if I catch you.
He said we should smile, Uchoma, so that network will not start again. Okay. Psalm 120. King David said, "Deliver me, O Lord, from lying lips and the deceitful tongue." Why? Because he was in such a place of power. He sat over the 12 tribes of Israel, and he knew that most of the princes in his court had their agendas. So everybody would lie and manipulate to further their own agenda. Look at his son, Absalom, had connived with some of the elders to take over the kingdom. You would ask people, go and help me do this. They come back lying and manipulating. And that is why the book of Psalms had a lot to do with David just pouring out his heart, that I will look unto the hills from whence cometh my help. He was always lamenting that, lies, manipulation, who can I trust? Now, social, moral manipulations. How would I start? When you look at the book of Proverbs and Ecclesiastes, it was always talking about the simple. The simple. That beware of deceitful lips, for with words they lead the simple away. The first thing was to find out who these simple people are. They are the bald. They are the inexperienced. They are the socially inadequate. They are the people that don't know much about life. Social manipulations are craftiness. People getting you to change your ways, your outlook, to accept a situation that ordinarily you would not accept, by playing on words, twisting words to let you, to paint a picture acceptable to you. Now, know this, the opposite of manipulation is the truth. So knowing that if you knew the truth, you would not be in a relationship with them. So they now go to manipulate. That is painting a picture that would make you take this person. Let me give you an example of social manipulation. Did I gist you about a friend of mine, very close friend of mine? In fact, he lived in my house for 5 years. Got married to this lady. And did I tell you about the 40th birthday? That he was planning a surprise 40th birthday?
Yes.
And it was on that birthday that he found out that the wife was older than he.
Was 3 years older than him.
2 years older. He was 42.
Okay.
And it was his wife's 40th. It was when he was planning the surprise party that he now called the mother of his wife, his mother-in-law, who was not in Lagos, that, you know, I want you to be there, or we're planning a surprise party for your daughter. So I will pay for transportation. And she was like, which daughter? I said, my wife now. Can mention her name? He said 40th. That how can she be 40 when her younger sister is 42? She had known that this man would not marry if he knew that she was older. So she swore 3 different affidavits declaring 3 different ages. What the man saw was an
3.
Yes.
Football age, school age, and marriage age.
The first one was the same age with him. But she now thought that he might think I'm too old. So she cut it by another year. She thought that maybe it was too close, then cut it by another year. So she had for 40, she was 44, she had for 42, then she had for 41, then she had for 40. What I'm saying, when they got married, was just, I think it was 2 years before, 2 or 3 years.
What happened?
So according to her 40th birthday, they got married when she was 37. So when she was 37, the guy was 39. So he was 42 when she was to clock 40, and he was planning for her. So that was one kind of manipulation. Let me give you another manipulation.
Then I'll ask you a question.
A popular pastor in Abuja, you must have heard the story, Pastor Iginla. He is AS, and he knew he could not marry another AS, so he married an AA, his wife. You know, went through all the spiritual consultations, and God also told him that that was his wife. When they now gave birth to their first child, he was SS. And he was confused that how can AS with AA produce SS? It was after then that they now did blood work and found out that his wife was also AS. She wanted to get married to a popular pastor, knowing his blood type, manipulated her own blood type by bringing a false blood work that she was AA. We are talking about manipulations in relationships. Okay.
No, I was just going to mention 2 things. Number 1, I actually had a friend, I hope she doesn't get to listen to this video, because I was very hurt because she was 40. So she lied to I just, like when you said that whole thing about 37, I remembered how she had to lie to the man that she was 37, I think. And the day she told me, she was I'm telling you, they were about to get married, not in Lagos, in another state. And she told me in Lagos, you know, oh, how can I tell him I'm 40? And I said, why can't you tell him you're 40? And she couldn't wrap her head around whether he will accept her. In retrospect, I'm looking at some of the things that happened in their marriage, and I'm wondering to myself, did he find out? And that caused part of the problem. Anyway, that's on the one hand. You want to react to that?
Yes, I want to even tell you how he might find out. Now, before the 40th birthday, they had been having a series of miscarriages. That is my friend. And each time they do evacuations, at times 2 miscarriages in a year, they would do evacuation. And one day he got upset and went to the doctor and said, why are we losing babies? What exactly is the issue? And the doctor said, don't you know that he expected that the wife would be communicating? You know, the wife would go to the clinic and, you know, he would leave her there and maybe go to work, but she would just tell him that it was a miscarriage. She would cry, you know, all those emotional appeal. But he got worried when you've had 4 miscarriages in 1.5 years. So he went and confronted the doctor that what exactly is it? And the doctor took him in and told him that it was mainly due to her age, that she is a bit too old to be conceiving consecutively. The strain on the womb. And he's saying, what do you mean that she's in her 30s now? What is too old? So there was already an issue of conception where the doctor had said that they were losing babies because of the age of the person. And when he said she's 30-something, the doctor said that can't be. But, you know, he won't really think about it like that. He won't really go and suspect that, bitches. He just, after the discourse, he went home and, as Christians, he started to prayers again.
Because sometimes, again, your body is sometimes because of wear and tear. Some people's bodies, scientifically, Dr. Connor, you can help me here. They say that sometimes you can look or be 35, but actually your body feels 40. You know, depends on the sort of stress you put on your body. So he could have excused that away. Anyway, there's a message here, and I don't want to mention the person's name because I want to get this message well. I don't know if it is sensitive enough, and because I know that people will watch this video later. Message says, what if you are married but afraid to move on because of what people will say? Married 6 months, new husband, 2 weeks engaged, 6 weeks married in court. Don't know anyone from family. He's no Mr. Christian. Okay. Yeah. So you might want to share more. I would say if you can slide into our DM.
I've been trying to read that question. I've been trying to read the question.
So what I'm hearing, what I'm getting is you got married to somebody 6 months, 2 weeks, and you got engaged. She got engaged for 2 weeks, and then 6 weeks later they were married in court, and then they've been married 6 months. Then she finds out that she doesn't know anybody from his family. She basically wants to move on, but she's afraid of what people will say. That's what I'm getting out of the message. I don't know if that makes much sense to you.
The point I would pick there is you're afraid of what people may say.
What do you want to actually leave? I still don't get it.
Well, she wants to probably move on, but she's afraid of what people will say. That is the crux of the matter. When you want to make a decision that is affecting your own life, decisions like who you would marry, decisions like this marriage is abusive, or it's not worth it, I was deceived, I was manipulated, or it is abusive, or I don't trust this man, I found out that he lied. Whatever decision,
he's no more a Christian.
Whether he's even a Christian, he claims to be a Christian, you don't make your decisions based on what people will say. Because you have your life to live. Let me tell you something. There is no way that even in your marriage, people will still criticize you. When you leave, people will still criticize you. True. There is no, you can never. So the best thing is live your life. I always tell people I would die happy, and on my tombstone, for a life well spent will not be a slogan, because I spent my life the way I wanted it to be. There are no, I will give you an example. You are scared of what people will say. I got married without inviting any member of my family. I only invited my mother, and I gave her a guideline that, listen, if you come with my sisters, I'm an only son, I would walk you out of my wedding. Because I know I come from a contentious household. I come from a royal family. They contend with, you know, it's one wahala after the other, and I'm not going to bring their wahala into my wedding. Till today, in my house, my wife doesn't know my sisters because I know that I come from a contentious. You see, when you say trouble, is different from contentious. People that will come into your house and tell you how to live, what to do, what to say, I don't want. So I decided that I will not have anything or anyone affect my family. Do you understand? So no matter what
I'm about to throw
anybody
you a
says,
curveball.
no matter what anybody says, if you want to see me, we'll go and meet at an eatery. But nobody is coming to my house. And I have been
I'm
so...
about to throw you a curveball. I have to throw you a curveball on this one. Very important one because...
Let it curve.
Okay. I'm thinking about what you just said over the idea of in getting to know someone. You know, we talked about lies last week, and you said, you know, ask questions, know, you know, find out about their family, their friends, ask questions from those people. So if for someone who's listening and trying to put that side by side with what you did for yourself, how, I mean, from a woman's point of view, the question would be, why wouldn't I?
Let me save you that. I know where you're coming from. I took her to meet my mother. So she had met my mother. And I raised all this in front of her and my mother. So she heard, and my mother confirmed to her that, listen, just help me beg him. Yes, this is our family. This is what we do. She has seen the picture of everybody, but I'm not going to. So she had met my mother. My mother had confirmed to her the stories I've told her. She had met some relatives. She's very good with my uncle. So she knows where I'm from. She knows my mother. In fact, herself, I think they even talk, herself and my mom talk more than I talk to my mother. They're closer. So she knows. She knows. But
I know.
You have to come clean. This is, so do you want to meet them and have them interfere? Do you want to? I've told you the nature. And she has seen from my point of view as buttressed by her meeting with my mother, who also confirmed.
So I'm going to confirm something. I'm going to confirm one thing, that I know Barrister Olumide Omosebi and I know his wife, and I have been around at least once where the mom actually called the wife if she wants to talk. And I heard them talk about mommy lots a bit, so I can attest to this particular fact, that she talks to him, she talks to the mother more than he talks to her.
My mom calls her, she knows more about, you know, my mom than probably I do now, you know, because they're always talking. But she has a link into my family, into my roots, but not the one that you don't know anything. There's nobody.
Thank you.
And it's not that they are dead.
Thank you for clearing that up.
But you don't know anybody. There's nobody you can, this is my uncle, this is, then that is a problem.
Thank you for clearing that up.